Alright boys, welcome back to the channel. How to scale reselling fast. So if you're new to reselling, you want to get started, this is how you're going to scale and this is how you're going to do it fast. And this is basically how I did it from scratch in it's taken me a long time, but if you listen to this, you're going to learn how to do it fast and you can skip all the bullshit steps because I'm going to teach you exactly how to do it. And it's really that pretty simple. It is extremely simple. You just have to stick to a few basic principles. Obviously there's a lot of other little things that you learn along the way, but this is going to cover like that 75 to 80% of what you need to know when you first just start out and you just want to make a bit of money, right? And the reason why I'm making this video is not just to give you a insight on how to start reselling and how to scale it fast, but also because I've recently just started an endeavor that is a branch of my reselling that is basically from scratch, and I'm going to have to do the exact same thing as if I was to start reselling completely from scratch. So this branch of my, let's say my business, is literally being started from nothing, and I'll be following these principles, and this is how I'm going to scale it. So let's just say, right, for example, if you had like a gym and you knew how to operate a gym, run a gym, you started up your first gym, you fucking did all the bullshit, you figured out this works, you figured out that works, you figure out how to get people in the door, you figure out the marketing and the sales and all the rest of the stuff and whatever, and then that gym is doing well, and then you're like, okay, let's get a fucking second gym going, let's get another location up, let's get it up and running. So you know what to do. You can sort of like fast forward the first few levels when you start your second store, but at the same time you're still starting from scratch. You have to do the exact same thing as you did at the first gym, but now you've got the knowledge of going, hey, I've seen this before, I can tackle this problem, blah blah blah. You know what I mean? So this is exactly the position I'm in at the moment, and it's also going to help you first timers out there. And even if you've done reselling for a while, this is going to tell you how you can do it faster. Or if you want to set up a second income stream or whatever, this is the video to watch, all right? And I'm also going to be putting in an example of how I've been doing it. So basically, context for you guys before I get too far in. I basically started selling my products out of another store, and that store, it was like, the numbers I'm going to show you in this video are from the first week of me selling in that store. It's pretty good numbers for the first week too, and it's going to show you exactly how I did it. Alright, but firstly, what you need more than anything is you need Facebook ads. Why Facebook? Well, because Facebook is like, everyone's on Facebook, like you got fucking every grandma to every fucking, even teenagers now, they love the fucking Facebook, you know what I mean? It is the best place where you're going to get the most people to see your stuff, and the way you sell a product is by getting the most eyeballs, and by advertising on the platform that has the most eyeballs constantly scrolling up and down looking for stuff on Marketplace is where you're going to make the most sales. It's pretty obvious. Okay, so in order to get customers, you need an initial place to advertise. FB is the best place to obtain your first, I'd say, 1 to 50 customers. Absolutely. I'm going to get into how you get the next lot of your customers after this. Okay, so tip, boost your listings, 100% worth it. So you can see on the right hand side of the screen, or on your screen, is a picture, and that picture is my products inside this store I'm now selling out of, and you can see it's a Facebook ad. So I boosted the listing. I'm going to show you the statistics for the listing in a second, but I got like freaking 2,000 clicks on listings in like a week because I boosted it. And the week, now it's been 2 weeks since that has gone down. The listing is still live. It's still a Facebook listing on Marketplace, but it's not haven't been boosted. And now in the 2 weeks after, it's only got like 34 views in total, which just shows you if you put in 20 or 30 bucks on your Facebook ad spend, you're going to get fucking 10, 20, 30, 100 times the amount of eyeballs on your thing, guaranteed. And we're going to get into some conversions in a second, like how many people we see. So Facebook shows you, like, one of the main sort of metrics it shows you is the clicks on the listing, but you've also got like impressions, so how many times it pops up on people's screens. But we're going to break that down in a second. But this is just for the basics. Even if you're selling like hoodies or hats or whatever, t-shirts, get it up on Facebook. If you've got a fair few, definitely boost it. If it's just one product, maybe don't boost it as much. But if you've got a fair few of that one item or whatever, like say if you have like hats, like fucking say you got like 20 or 30 hats more, boost it. Fucking put $20 on there. You'll be amazed how fast you're able to sell it. Whereas if it wasn't boosted, you're not getting any traction whatsoever. Because you've got to remember, there's going to be heaps of competition in reselling. It's such a, it's not, I don't want to call it saturated because it's not as saturated as you think, but it's saturated at the bottom level where you might have one or two like top dogs who like sell a whole range of things, but you might have like 100 kids trying to sell like a Denim Tears hoodie and trying to get rich because they just see that, you know. Whereas if you're like a top dog and know what to sell and you want to get above that, all I do is boost and I get more clicks on my listings and everyone comes to me first. So that's the best way to do it. Alright, so then after that, what you want to do is you want to funnel to your Instagram. Now, I didn't mean to I blurred out my username, but you can still see my username on the thing because I didn't want to get you dickheads in there looking at my thing and stealing my customers, but I'll blur it out. So, Instagram funnel. Why do we funnel to Instagram? The easiest and best explanation is because on Facebook, they only see it pop up on Marketplace and then they might not find you again. Like, I know you can follow people on Marketplace, but it doesn't leave like a good imprint on that person's brain. They go, oh, what's that guy's name on Facebook again? Oh, I should have followed him on Facebook and now I can't find him. Oh, I'm just going to have to scroll through and find him again. And they end up finding someone else and then you lose a customer. So the best way to retain a customer is by going, hey, here's my Instagram, go follow it. And then you're constantly up in their feed because you post up a story or whatever. So what I do is I post stuff here, like you can see like shorts and like a watch and like puffer jacket, right? But what I do when I get new stuff, I literally just pop it on the story and I go, this is available, this is available, this is available. And people just see it and then they swipe up and go, hey, how much is this? Is this available? Oh yeah. Organize the sale, done. Simple as that. I'm not having to go fucking post on Facebook and all this bullshit, blah, blah, blah. So you need to get them on Facebook. It's the easiest, on Instagram. It's the easiest way, right, to retain a customer. Like, if I didn't have Instagram, I know Facebook has set the foundation for my business, but without Instagram, like the rest of that, say you're building a house, right? Your concrete slab and your foundation is Facebook. That's how you're going to get your initial customers. But to maintain and keep your customers and keep your reputation and showcase like a whole fucking screening of all your products, etc. Because I've got 51 posts and having like highlights and stories and shit. Like that is the rest of the house essentially. Like all the fucking the fucking timber frame, the walls, the electric, the plumbing. If you know what I mean, that's the equivalent. That's what Instagram is to the equivalent of that. So you need Instagram. Best way to sell 100%. I'm telling you, because Instagram is just such a valuable asset to have. Like Instagram, if you have like a personal brand, for example, Instagram, it's like the number one thing. You need a personal brand on Instagram to fucking be a boss nowadays. Basically, you always see like the biggest people in the world with big Instagrams. You know, 100k followers, like 1 million followers. Even just like people with like 10k followers in like a fucking tick, you go, holy shit, this guy fucking is a boss because he's got 10k followers on Instagram, you know? Like, it doesn't even, like, literally it could mean nothing, right? But if you see someone with 10k followers and a blue tick, you're like, fuck, that guy's important. Alright, so, and that's the exact same thing for businesses, right? Insta, very important if we want to retain customers. Now, going back to what I was talking about before with my ads. So, let's break down my ad. So basically what I was selling was, you saw on the thing before, right? A number of different bags, hats, sunnies, just like not a lot of stuff. It's only just a little bit, okay? So I spent $26 there on ads, right? And this lasted a week. So 21st of June to 28th of June, roughly about 3 weeks ago, right? So from that, we got 64 conversations started. So 64 people swiped up and said, is this available? 64. Based on that, do our math here, it costs 41 cents per conversation. Now, that might seem like a lot, but let's break it down further, okay? So this is the total sales that we had. If I just move this shit out of the way for you guys. Over here, fucking thing. Right. So this was the totals that we had, okay? Can I make myself bigger? No, don't want to do that. How the fuck am I getting out of here? Right. Never mind. I'm editing that out. Alright. Totals. So we had sale number 1. We had 5 sales in total. A hat and a bag. Okay? Sweet. Sale 2, a hat, $60. Sale 3, glasses, $60. Sale 4, bag and 2 hats, $270. That's a good sale. Sale number 5, bag, $150. Total, $750 for the week. FB, from the FB ads, $540. From Instagram, $210. Okay? Now when I say Instagram, what I mean by that is, because I already have customers on Instagram, so this store is in a certain area of my city, Brisbane, and they had a certain item that these people texted me on my Instagram for, so my normal customers texted me. I just sent them to the store and said, go buy from the store because they've got the item. Whereas the other 3 sales were completely like from Facebook, new customers. I never met them, didn't know them, okay? And they just went to the store. Alright? Okay. Now I lied. So apparently the total ad spend was $27.89. That graph before said like $26 or whatever. So our total revenue was $750 for the week. So therefore our return on ad spend, ROAS, was $722.11. So keep in mind this is revenue, not profit. Profit is around $500. So we invested about $28, give or take, 10 cents, and we got back $750 in revenue from that, $750 in cash. And to me, that's a pretty good return on investment, if I might say so myself. And then we have to take into the account the cost that was for our product. So that was about $500. That was about $250 or so, $300 maybe. So it might be a bit generous. Maybe it's between $400 and $500 profit. So between $400 and $500 in profit. Okay, so that's pretty good for 1 week, completely new store. It's not like I was there full time on my phone fucking doing ads. If I wanted to fucking scale it to the moon, I could have bought fucking 10 grand worth of shit in, fucking spent $1,000 on ads, and I would have got fucking probably almost fucking $5 grand, you know. But that's if I wanted to. That's if I wanted to do that. I know I'm just making up bullshit now, but anyway, moving on. So CAC to LTV. Let me just skip forward first. I wanted to figure out, right, let's just do this live. I wanted to figure out some conversion rates, all right? So if we go back to this before, right, we had 64 people message us, okay? So 64, and we got 3 sales. I think there was a guy, so when I made this at the time, this was like a few weeks ago, there was a guy, when after I made this, he texted me and wanted some more stuff. So he's not going to apply to this, but we'll just add him to this, okay? So let's just say we got 4 sales from the Facebook, okay? So 64 divided by, 4 divided by 64 times 100. So we only had a conversion rate of 6.25%. So out of the people who texted us, so if 100 people texted us, right, from our ad, only 6.25 of those people would have actually went into the store and bought something. Now, if we relate that back to our thing, let's say, so we had 64 minus 6, 58, right? 64, minus 4. So we had 60 people who messaged us and didn't buy something. So we established before that it cost 40 cents for every conversation started. So 60 times 40 cents is $24.60. So $24.60 basically went to waste from our ad spend. But it made it up for the fact and where we got these other guys coming in, and I'm going to break down the LTV to CAC now. So going back here, so $27.89, $27.89 minus, what was it? $24.60. So only $3.29 of that was sort of useful in getting the customers into the store, if that makes sense. And that just shows you that a lot of your ad spend will go to waste, but that $3 it took to get the 4 people into the store is that's what we're here for, and that's what's going to give us our return on investment there. All right. Anyway, CAC to LTV. What does that even mean, you think? So CAC stands for cost of acquiring customer. It should be COAC, but this CAC for short. And LTV is lifetime value. So it's basically a ratio, CAC, so cost of acquiring customer versus lifetime value. So how much should it cost for us to get that customer in the door versus how much should they spend and we profited off them, okay? So going on what we did before, customer 1, $55.42 it costs to acquire them. Why is that? Because a hat and a bag costs $40 for a bag, $15 for a hat, and the 42 cents it costs to start the conversation from our Facebook ad, if that makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense to you. So they went and spent $210. So 210 minus 55.42, $154.58. That's how much profit we got from them. And so our LTV is always profit, it's never revenue. So we've got to work out how much we actually made off that sale, if that makes sense. So customer 1, $154.58, and you can see here our other 4 customers that we did. Our LTV to CAC is 1 to 2.81. So for every dollar that we put in, that we spent on our product and advertising that product, we got $2.81 back in return, if that makes sense. So almost $3. So I'm going to show you now with a little twist of how one customer can sort of bolster and one big spend that can sort of bolster your whole business. And that's by our first customer coming back. I retained him on Instagram. I got him on the Instagram. He came back and spent 200 more. And just the other night, he spent another 250. Okay. So our profit for him has gone up another 200. So that makes his CAC, LTV to CAC ratio by himself, 1 to $6.39. So for every dollar, for a dollar that we put into acquiring him as a customer, so over here we got $55.42, we got $6.39 back. Hope that sort of makes some sort of sense. And what happens now, every time that customer here comes back and buys something else, that number is going to climb and climb and climb. I probably have some customers for every dollar I spent acquiring them. So remember, acquiring means first time. So it doesn't mean that we have to keep adding on every time, all the bullshit. So it cost us a hat and a bag and the ad spend to acquire him. It doesn't mean it costs, say he came back and bought a watch, it doesn't mean that we add the cost of the watch to our CAC. We only add the profit to our LTV. I hope that makes some sort of sense. It's a bit confusing trying to explain it without being there and writing it down in front of you and showing how it works, but that's basically how it works. So we have a hat, a bag, and the ad spend that it costs to acquire him. So that got him in the door, the first time that got him in the door to buy the stuff. We made our money off him the first time. Now, because we've already acquired him as a customer, when he comes back and buys something else, we don't need to add anything to the CAC. The CAC stays the same. All we need to add to our LTV, the profit that we made off the LTV. So say he comes in and buys a watch for 300, and our watch costs 100. We add the 200 there in profit to the LTV, and that is just going to increase our LTV to CAC, and eventually that's going to climb and climb and climb again over time. Okay, the same goes for all these other customers here. So if customer 3 was to come back and buy another hat, our profit for him would go up, say $30, and that CAC would slowly rise. But now if we average it out, again, our LTV to CAC is now $1 to $3.54. Okay, so for every dollar that we spend, we got $3.54 back in total. Now, that's all a little bit complex, especially for you beginners out there, but that's basically how you got to break it down and scale your business. This is sort of like high level stuff. I'm guaranteed no fucking kid is doing this sort of research and then like running these numbers on their reselling business, but that's what it takes to know like how well you're doing and where you need to improve. Because if that CAC is down, fucking in the dumps, if you got like a 1 to 2 CAC, that's not good. You've got to try have it around that 1 to 3 to 4 to beyond that. Okay, and that's just in the first week. So that's already the signs of a good business in the making. And remember, every time a customer comes back and buys something else, that CAC is going to increase. So the importance of LTV to CAC, I cannot understate it. It's very important. Need to know this number, otherwise you don't know what the fuck you're doing, basically. Now, that's how you're going to scale your reselling business. So the first part of this for the first part of this video, it was a breakdown of how to scale on a simple level. And the second part was me breaking down and analyzing numbers and how that relates to reselling and how to scale your reselling business. Now, I hope you sort of can wrap your head around this. If you've watched this till the end, well done. You've got your head around a concept that's fucking difficult to understand, and not many people and resellers in general would go this deep into analyzing what the fuck they're doing. Anyways, pleasure fucking as always, boys, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.